Hi, Danny. Welcome to lesson number 97. Today's lesson, we are going to be going over some brand new ideas. Okay, we're going to learn some new vocabulary words. I know it's math, but it's a little bit of vocabulary too. We're going to be talking about the mean, median, range, and mode. I know that those are all new words, but by the end of the lesson, you are going to understand them all. It's going to be awesome. First of all, did you hear about the kidnapping at school? It's fine now. He woke up. Kidnapping, get it? There was a kidnapping at school. Okay, all right, that's a good one. Let's do your 5 minutes of math facts. You're going to do 100 multiplication facts. I'm going to get out a timer for you. Let's see where my timer is. On your mark, get set, go. That was a great joke, huh? Yeah, the kidnapping. Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. That guy's fingers must be getting tired. The man or woman, I guess. I don't know who it is playing that. All right, let's jump into the rest of our mental math. And this is going to seem a little easy for you, but I think that you're going to figure out pretty soon that they're going to use this idea of doubling a number to make something a little bit harder to do next time. Okay, so for now, just enjoy the easy one. We're going to double each number. That means multiply it by 2. So instead of 3, we're going to double it to 6. How do we double 4? I know. Come on, wake up. You can do this. Double that one. Yep. How do we double 15? I just put this to remind you, first day of school. It's basically first day of summer school, okay? It's going to be awesome. Great. See, I'm giving you half the answers. How do you double 50? That one might be harder. Let's see if you can do it. Multiply it by 2. Okay. And E, don't be intimidated. Double 25. What would you get? Imagine it's a quarter. What would you get if you double it? Okay, now we're going to do a little review. $1 minus 42 cents. Do you remember how to do these? If you don't, text me and I'll remind you. G, 199 plus 56. Now what I would do is I would probably add one here, make it even, and then subtract one here. That's an easier math problem, isn't it? Okay, what about H? So we're going to do 43 minus 25. All right, let's do a few Roman numerals. Here's a little Roman soldier here while we do it. We want to turn 25 into a Roman numeral. How would you do it? You would need a 10. You might need another 10. And then do you remember what a 5 is? Okay. What about this? This one's harder because there's a 10 and there's another 10, but there's a 1 before this. So that means you're going to subtract 1 from that 10. Okay, Houston, we have a problem. Danny, we need you to solve this problem. Here we go. It says that there are 365 days in a year, in a common year. That means like we're not talking about a leap year. Okay, so there's 365 days and there's about 52 weeks. But if there were 52 weeks exactly, 52 weeks, because there's 7 days in a week, it would be 364 days because 52 weeks times 7 days is 364, not 365. So that means that there's an extra day. It's 52 weeks and a little bit extra. So this is what they want to know. A year does not start on the same day of the week, because if it was 365 days exactly, then if January 1st was on a Tuesday, the next January 1st would also be on a Tuesday because it would be perfectly even on a calendar. Do you get it? Okay, now if a common year starts on a Tuesday, oh, that's interesting, that was my example. What day of the week will the next year start? Ooh, that's tricky. That's tricky because a year is 365 days, but there's actually only 364 days. So would it be one day before? I kind of think of it like if it was, let's pretend that a year was 300 and let's see, let's see. No, I don't want to confuse you. Let's see if you can figure it out by doing that, by just thinking it through. I actually think that you can. because, yeah, I actually think that you can do it. Let's see if you can do it. All right, I'll just go from there. All right, let's look at some of these new concepts. Now, before we learned about averages, and you are not average, but the average student in a class is average. There's a couple categories above it, excellent, good, and below it, poor and failure. Average, I want you to notice something, is right in the middle. That's kind of what you're doing when you're getting an average, is you are learning where you rank or where the score is compared to other scores. Okay, so when we practice finding an average, I want you to just remember the steps to do that. Step 1 is going to be that you add all the numbers. Step 2, we're going to divide by the number of numbers. And I know that is a little confusing, but pretend that you have like 3 test scores and you get a 78 and an 85 and maybe an 80. You add them all up and then you divide by the number of test scores. So in this example, it would be 1 test score, 2 scores, 3 scores. So you add them all up and divide by 3. Divide it by the number of numbers. Okay, guess what you're doing when you figure that out? You are finding the average, but you're also finding, this is one of the new vocabulary words, the mean, M-E-A-N, just like the word mean, like don't be mean, but it means average when you're talking about math. So that's already one of the new scores, and now you can understand this comic because this girl is upset. She's saying, my math teacher called me average. How mean. That's because average is the same as mean. In math words, those things are equal. So another name for the average is the mean. So they could have given you those 3 test scores and then they would say, find the mean. And all you do is you find the average, and then that is going to be the mean. So see, that first one was super easy. Now when you see it on a test, you're going to understand it. Instead of saying, you're so mean, if you didn't know what it meant, you'd be like, you're so mean, but now you know what it means. Let's do example 1. Find the mean of Ian's 7 test scores. So this word is important because it's telling us the number of numbers, 7. I guess we could just count them. And also they want us to find the mean, which is the same as the average. So what do we have to do? We have to add up all these numbers. 80 plus 85 plus 85 plus 10 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 85. Okay. And then after we've added them all up, we're going to get a big number. We're going to divide that number by 7. So if you add them all up, and you can just use your calculator for that if you want, you get 525. Now you're going to divide that by 7, and you get 75. 75 is the average test score that Ian got. So he's not as smart as you because you usually get 90 or above. But his average test score is 75, and also his mean test score is 75. Actually, if I look at his scores, a lot of them were pretty good. He got 2 90s, but this one was a very, very low test score of only 10, and that really brought down the average. That really lowered the mean. Okay, we're going to learn another vocabulary word. The next one, this nursery rhyme helps us remember it. And the nursery rhyme goes, hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such fun, and the dish ran away with the spoon. That's like a little kid nursery rhyme, but you might not know it because it's a little old-fashioned. So they changed it so that you can remember some of these math words, okay? It says, hey diddle diddle, the median is the middle. You add and divide for the mean. So we already practiced adding and dividing for the mean. But now they're telling us a new vocabulary word, which is this median, M-E-D-I-A-N. And median means the score that is exactly in the middle. So what you have to do is you have to put the numbers in order from the smallest to the biggest, and then find the one that is physically sitting right in the middle of all those scores. So it's just the middle number. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's say you have 3, 4, 6, 7, and 1. Okay, now these are all the numbers. If I were trying to find the mean, I would add them up and divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would add them up and divide by 5. But I'm not going to do that because they want to know the median. The first step in finding the median is to put all the numbers in order. So I have to move this 1 and put it over here. Okay, I'll get rid of that. Okay, then now they're all in order. Now I'm going to look at all of them and decide which one is exactly in the middle. So like, I can see that the 4 is in the middle because there's 2 numbers on this side and there's 2 numbers on this side. And it doesn't matter how big those numbers are, it just matters which one is in the middle. If you put them in order from the lowest to the biggest, you have to find the one that is sitting right in the middle. Okay? So that is called the median. And I sort of remember that because it kind of sounds like middle. Like there's a M and there's a D. See the M and the D and the M and the D. The median is the one in the middle. Okay, now let's do range, another new vocabulary word. You are going to be so smart at the end of this. Let's say they give you a bunch of numbers like on this chart, and you've got numbers that go all the way from 5 to 13. And the reason I put that picture of a go-kart is because I want you to imagine that maybe this is on the speedometer of a go-kart. Maybe the fastest it can go is 13 miles an hour, and the slowest it can go is 5. Now, you know and I know that it could go less than 5 because if it's just sitting there, it's going 0. But let's just pretend that it has to go at least 5 miles an hour, okay? And then they might ask, what is the range of speeds that it can go? What is the range? And the range is the difference between the smallest and the largest numbers. Difference means you're going to have to subtract. So all you do is you look for the lowest number, and it's 5. We're going to put it right there. Then you look for the highest number. It's 13. We're going to subtract. 13 minus 5 is 8. That means the range of miles per hour goes from 5 to 13, and that's 8 different values that it could be. It could be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, that's the range. 13 minus 5. So the range is 8. Sweet. So all you do whenever you're finding the range is you find the largest number, you find the smallest number, and you subtract the smallest from the largest. That means you subtract like this. Put your big number, take away your small number. That is the range. All right, let's do example 2. Example 2, that's on the next page, so if you can turn the page, it says, find the median and the range. So they want you to look for 2 different numbers. One is going to be the median, one's going to be the range of Ian's 7 test scores. All right, so this time I put the numbers from top to bottom. It doesn't matter how, if you do it from left to right or top to bottom, it doesn't matter. So the first thing that we're going to find is the median. Now you remember median, it sounds like middle because there's an M, there's a D. So we're going to find the one right in the middle. But when I look at them, I notice they are not in order. I have to put them in order from smallest, which is this 10, to biggest. Actually, looks like there's an 85 here, so I can put that there. Okay, good. Now when I look at them, they go from low all the way higher, higher, higher. If they're the same, it doesn't matter. You could just put them next to each other. And now we need to find the one that's in the middle. So it's not going to be the one on the edge, so it's not going to be that or that. Actually, let me erase that. So it's not going to be this or this. It's not going to be this or this, and it's not going to be this or this. So this is the one right in the middle. So this is the median because it's right in the middle. So the median is 85. Now, what else did they ask? They wanted to know the range. Okay, the range is going to be how much of a difference is there from the lowest one to the highest one. Okay, so this is the lowest one, this is the highest one. So we're going to take 90 minus 10. The range is going to be 80. Easy peasy, right? Okay, cool. Let's do another vocabulary word. You're learning a lot of cool new stuff today. This one is called the mode. The mode is the number that happens the most often. And when I think of mode, I kind of think of like fashion mode, because that you can have a fashion mode, and that's the outfit that sells the most often. So if there's like 8 people wearing the same outfit, that is a fashion mode. Okay, so it's the number that happens the most often. So let's look at example 3. Find the mode. So this time we're going to be finding the mode of Ian's 7 test scores. Okay, I still like to put them in order from lowest to highest. You don't have to for the mode because you're just looking across and just seeing which one happens the most often, but sometimes it's easier for me to see this way. Okay, so we've got 10. We've got 80. He only gets 1 score of 10, so it's not going to be that. He only gets 1 score of 80, so it's not going to be that. 85, that happens 3 times. 1, 2, 3. 90, how many times does that happen? That happens 1, 2. So the mode is the score that happens the most often. So the most often score that he gets is 85. So that's the mode. Cool, huh? Fashion mode. And guess what, buddy? That is the end of the lesson. I'm just going to tell you one other thing. Like, what if there was only 2 85s? Then it's a tie. 85 is a tie with 90. That happens the most often. And then sometimes they call that bimodal, like you have 2 modes. So this is a mode and this is a mode. So they're both modes. Okay, but if one of them happens the most often, then that number wins. Okay, cool. All right, you are done with the lesson today, Danny. Love you. Have a great time doing your math. Bye.